Dear Venerable Sisters, to my friends, we are going to start the third sermon along this series. Today is the 23rd of January 2020. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Indriya sangvare asati indriya sangvara vipannasse. Hatupanisang hoti silang ti. Dear Venerable Sisters and my friends, along this Satisampajanna Sutta, sometimes translated as mindfulness, sometimes translated as mindfulness as clear comprehension. That's just the name of the particular sutta. And we are now in the third sermon, and it says, when there is no restraint of the faculties, sense faculties, for one deficient in restraint of the sense faculties, virtuous behavior lack its proximate cause. So, if someone is concerned about one's sila, or virtues, or moral conduct, or virtuous behavior, one has this very good reason someone to inquire into whether my restraint of faculties, sense faculties, under control or not. If you feel, yes, that my restraint of the sense faculties not up to the satisfaction, still you have to go down and you have to say your moral shame and the moral fear. If that is lacking, your restraint of the faculties are deficient. And still, if you go down, backward, retrospect, the mindfulness and the clear comprehension is the starting point. And if you are making sure, without getting upset about your lack of virtues or virtuous behavior, you have to patiently go back to preliminary level, basics, and think about mindfulness and clear comprehension. When it continue, when the mindfulness becomes steadfast, when mindfulness becomes continuous, and you know how to maintain this already earned mindfulness amidst of little bit of changing of your postures, little bit of amidst of some distracting aspects like sounds, thoughts, and pains like. So this is the clear indication. Now your moral shame and moral fear is setting in, about to come into understanding. Don't consider the distraction and other thing as negative, but they are kind of progress reports, like progress tests. So you have to learn just not the pure mindfulness on the primary object, even little bit of under adverse situations. If you are ready to learn the maintenance of the mindfulness, you have to have kind of a radical way or radical reflection, and then you can see, not like as a beginner, when the mindfulness gaining the ground, when it becomes sustainable, steadfast, little bit of distractions, little bit of adverse situation, you can still maintain the equilibrium or the balance. So this is a clear indication, and when that happens, still when you are progressing, you can see our faculties, five senses, are always asking something dramatic, something colorful, something eventful. So therefore it is searching instead of your innocent, simple effort of mindfulness, dragging it to the likings and dislikings, and desirable thing and undesirable thing, pain and pleasure. Whenever the extremes, whenever the liking and disliking, pain and pleasure, desirable, undesirable become extreme, your mindfulness and your sense, the moral shame and moral fear, everything at danger. So therefore you have to understand, just letting the sense faculties or organs to run the show, if it is so, your mindfulness and moral shame and moral fear at danger. So therefore you have to understand how the senses are working. Even if you introduce assembly ground, and even under unlikely situations, your mind do not know how to come back to the assembly ground. Still it is in panic, and under such circumstances, you will underestimate your mindfulness and the clear comprehension. You will underestimate your moral shame and moral fear. You will underestimate definitely your restraint of the faculties. So therefore you have to understand, you must have already appointed safe land, or seas, or assembly ground. And when and where danger happens, you have to come back. The very common example the Buddha given is the turtle. Whenever something happens, it tug in all the limbs and go into the shell. Shell is your protection. Shell is your oasis. Shell is the safety land. So if you do not know, instead if you become aggravated and fighting and reactioning and deciding and judgmental and assuming, then you will be you are bound to lose the battle. So, but in a normal society, they will not appreciate the turtle. He is a very sluggish fellow, very slow in progress. And whenever something danger happens, it tug in. But instead, your fellow beings and relatives and everything will ask you to go ahead and fight. Give a challenge and decide it, judgmental, assuming you think this adverse situation due to that particular person, or due to this reason, this climate, this food, like you try to find external sources. As far as your virtual life is not contented, as far as it is in bankruptcy, you are finding ways and means to attribute outside. But instead, if you know it is not going to give a lasting answer is discipline yourself and restrain your faculties. Defilements are not outside, it is already inside. So therefore, first and foremost thing is come to a safe land. So when you analyze it further and further in psychological way, it says this is the point where you are met up with your likings and disliking, your pleasure and pain, your desirability and undesirable, your notion of desirable and undesirable. Unless otherwise, you don't care. You think my pleasure and pain is the worldly or universal, common pain and the pleasure. My liking and dislikings is universal. Everyone is with that liking and disliking. Everyone is with this pain and pleasure. It is not the case. The pain and pleasure decide by your own culture, your own way you brought up, your background. And desirability and undesirability, pain and the pleasure, good and the bad, everything is your way that you brought up. Whenever you generalize it, you are making trouble. Instead of understanding against the context. So that is the only point you are going to understand, who am I? I am a person with that desire and that pleasure. That is my pleasure. That is pain. Or liking and disliking. Pain and pleasure. And many fail to understand one's character type, or so to say like horoscope. You know, in astrology, they look into the horoscope. Like your liking and disliking indicate who you are. That it is that your liking and disliking, your desirability and undesirability is immaterial when and where you are learning mindfulness as a beginner. You can just keeping them your own package, still you can continue. While whenever you are going to the sphere of moral shame and moral fear, you understand. Due to your liking and disliking, desirability and undesirability, you judge. It's a premeditated, prejudgmental way you work with situation and give your judgment. You analyze the situation. When and where you go still further and to understand restraint of faculties, that aspect of your meditation become very, very prominent. You understand this kind of signals are irritating me. Are you always happy with this kind of signals? My desirability is this. These are undesirable. These are my likings. These are my unlike situation. So, some Western people, to explain this situation, they say, can you have a choiceless awareness to the liking and dislike, desirability and undesirability, and good and the bad, non-judgmental? That is the most difficult. That's why many people, they are not responsible about restraint of their faculties. And they do not know how to see through this situation. So, it is something you must learn, you must understand theoretically. That is the point where your culture, where your personality, understanding your liking and disliking, understanding your way of deciding things, judging things, and ultimately you generalize it, and ultimately you get cornered in the society. And that is, the day you understand, definitely it will be a disappointment and kind of a backward, but still, if you manage to continue, maintain mindfulness in a sustainable manner, few days' time you will understand these are my desirable situation, these are my undesirable situation. These are my likings, these are my... Throughout the life we are imposing that to our dear and near ones. That is the worst thing. Because you think it is universal. You think it is, everyone must be like that because I like it, so my children must be like. And I don't like this, so children should not have that kind of a liking towards that. It is something against me. And when you go to the society, when you go to any other places, you value everything from your likings and disliking. So, if there is a good, true friend or noble friend, he will let you know later, hey darling, you are deciding on this, the stereotype mind, that's why you are fighting with this side all the ways. And that's why you are happy with that. And therefore, don't you think that your mind is stereotype? You are always with blinkers, you can't have the large range. So therefore, understand, wherever you get irritated, wherever you get elated, it is not due to the external things. It is because of your stereotype mind. It is because of the rut. You are running in a rut, in a kind of a seasoned way. So mindfulness gives you another chance for you to rethink. So that is the point where utterly you must be humble. If you are adamant, you will find fault with your true friend also. You will find fault with even your noble friend also, telling, yeah, you mind your own business, don't force fingers into my psychology, that is my way. And that is what the laity, that is what the lay life is. But if you are humble enough, innocent enough, just to listen, which is a very rare kind of a reflection someone is going to give you, specifically when you are not in trouble. Your bad friends will let you know when you are in trouble. No use. They are aggravating the situation. But the true friend or noble friends, they will let you know when things calm down. If you wish to rethink, if you think reshuffle, if you are ready to be renovated or rejuvenated or refresh yourself, please see the criterion with which that you are deciding the society, with which you are deciding the phenomena. So that part, specifically towards restraint of faculties, it must be utterly patient. And whenever if you happen to let someone also, take care. Don't rush. Just indicate to your particular person if you are going to instruct or share with, when you're calm and quiet, take an event and tell, this is what it happens. You would have seen it from the different perspective. This is my perspective. This was the situation because that you decided, that you judged, and I can predict you are with that kind of a judgment. You are with that kind of a liking and disliking. You are with this kind of a desirability, undesirability. But if it is so, you will never progress. It is it is called case hardening. Case hardening is a very dangerous thing. For example, when you are making tea, it's first we ferment the tea and let it ferment it, and then before send it to the market, we have to dry it. The drying must be gradual. If you put into the direct dryer, the outer case will be dried and inside there may be not very dried, not well seasoned, the water inside trap due to the case, we call case hardening. And ultimately all the qualities of tea reduces. So in the dryer, first you do it with a very little bit of heat and slowly take it to the higher degree of temperature. Then only the inner core, the center of the particle also will be dried. So that process, if it is not happening, pitakara venawa in Sinhala, we call pitakara venawa. And when we are drying parboiled paddy, when we are drying anything, it must be gradual process. So this is the point we miss the bus. We try to be very smart. Because your traits, your liking and disliking, your desirability, desire and undesired thing are sets in aeons of time. It is not overnight business. So you can't erase it overnight. First and foremost, you have to understand what are the points I get irritated, what are the points I get desired, and let it happen again and again. Before going to employ remedies, just study. That is called feasibility study. And when you are sitting, we are sitting in the same hall. And if you ask someone, when you are meditating, what is the most irritating thing? One may say, one day I am thinking. My fantasizing, daydreaming are the main distraction or obstruct. Other one say, I don't have that kind of thing, my back pain. Always paining. So pain is my problem. Yet another person may say, I don't mind the pain, I don't mind the thinking, but the sounds. So we pick our irritation according to our personality traits. We are sitting in the same hall, but our interview report is not the same. Because my picking, my grabbing, my adverting towards that particular irritation is born with, cultured with, brought up with. We don't know. And we think everyone is suffering from daydreaming, fantasizing because I am suffering. And they think that that is the most distracting or most obstructive thing for everyone. Because he or she thinks from that viewpoint. And maybe some other person is not with that kind of a thing, and instead they have some bodily pains or past memories, or some may say, no, only the sound. I can't hear this hissing sound. So can someone go there and switch off the air conditioner because I can't meditate. Many people find they can't meditate because the clock is clicking. Click, 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 click. So they are throughout 60 minutes they are hating the sound. And they think everyone is distracted. No, other person is happily meditating. So understanding this personality trait, understanding our way of picking the particularly irritable object or desirable object. So how lucky if you can tell someone, when I'm meditating, this is what it happens, what is your idea? You say, thank you very much. I am also sitting and meditating, but basically I am not so. So if you have a trust upon the other person, trust upon your co-meditator, trust upon your teacher, then the other person appears like a mirror. You go and stand in front of the other practitioner, he or she will give her or his opinion, and that is the most important thing in our life. But are we skillful in earning that? To get the neutral observation and the judgment of our fellow meditators. That is why the Buddha says, samagganan taposuko. If the meditators are in peace, they are agreeable situation, meditation is fun. If the meditators are hating each other, if the meditators are sectarian, telling they are white-skinned people, we are brown-skinned people, we are Buddhist, they are not Buddhist, they are tall people, they are short people, they are male, female, better not to meditate. It won't happen. It won't. You lose the humanity. Moment you identify the person with this kind of traits, utterly you are losing the basic human qualities. So at least, we know we are in the religious people, we are utterly unhuman. But in Dhamma, it gives us such a pure opportunity. Never mind, yes, there are some sectarianism, but beneath everything, we are human. So, first and foremost, you have to sympathize yourself. Then only you can understand my personality traits with the help of others' reflections. And you also try, with your choiceless awareness, your neutral observation, what are the most frequent irritation in my meditation. You are not hiding it. You have to write in your report, when I am meditating, pain is the difficulty, sound is the difficulty, thought is the difficulty. And next time, once you report it, you are committed to see, is my reporting is correct? Is the pain come in the 75%, 80% in the time? Or my reporting is wrong? So likewise, day by day, you try to understand, who am I? So this is the point where the restraint of faculty is going to raise you up, uplifting, and the Buddha find very, very nice relationship with understanding who am I is leading to the virtuous behavior, sila. If you do not have that kind of background information, if you do not have that kind of feasibility study, if you do not have that kind of information, your meditation behavior, very difficult for you to be a virtuous person, because the moral restraint is the stepping stone to the spiritual life. So therefore, moral shame and the moral fear and the restraint of the faculties are the foundation for your morality or precepts or moral behavior. So if the moral behavior is not up to the mark, just punishing that particular person is brutal. Present-day jurisdiction. The judge, he himself may be having the same mistakes, but he decide upon another person, you must be sentenced to this and that, because the book says this is wrong and this is correct. Earlier king was using it. So Pandita Sayadaw says, if the judge is not at least up to the mark of beyond Nissarana, or beyond obsessional kind of defilement, how to trust his behavior, his judgment? If it's at least they can go beyond Nissarana level, or go to the obsessional defilement level, then he can look at the people in a equal way, choiceless way, otherwise the human error. So that is why in cricket, we had 2 umpires, leg umpire, main umpire, and daily complain. The visiting team says the umpires are biased. They are human error, and therefore they are biased to the home team. Thinking the umpires are from the home team. So fighting, no end. So the third umpire introduced. Third umpire is the TV camera. The TV camera do not have human error. If the decision is not been accepted by the home team and the visiting, this is wait. We are going to put action replay and maybe slow motion. And then you can see whether it's an out or it's not. No one can complain. So mindfulness is a TV camera for your life. If it is not on, you're only working with the leg umpire and the chief umpire, so human error is there. But when it is improving up to the moral shame and the moral fear one stage, and then furtherance into the restraint of the faculties, and then you see, don't rush to a decision, let it happen again and again, and see, are we enough with information to make the judgment? So rushing nature is the commoner's mistake. They are very rushing quickly to go to the judgment. But if you are with the restraint of faculties, you will say, for the moment I don't have enough information, let me sit again and see whether this is the one often irritating me, or is it just occasional irritation? So your sustainability, regular sitting, will going to give a lasting kind of a judgment. And then what you are going to gain, according to the today's phrase, it says, Indriya sangarambhikve asati, indriya sangarambhikve pannasa, hatupanisang hoti silang. If you are not waiting to get more information with your restraint of faculties, if you are lacking, your sila is at danger. The opposite, the latter part of this particular sutta, the Buddha says, Indriya sangarambhikve sati, indriya sangaram sampannasa, upanisa sampanna hoti silang. If you are with alert and vigilant and diligent with your restraint of faculties, and you are backed with restraint of faculties, you have the base for your behavior, moral behavior to happen or healthy behavior to happen. So therefore, that is the proximate cause. So when we are in sitting meditation, when we are in walking meditation, we must know, each and everyone must know, whenever a trouble happens, we have to come and find refuge in meditation. That is what we call primary object. If someone do not know, if such an unlikely situation happens, we have to go, it's utterly teacher's mistake 100%. That is what Pandita Sayadaw says, because we are not born with that knowledge. So therefore the teacher is for that. If someone has taken 10-day retreat, or 3, 5 to 6 days, still, even when they are going home, they don't know when such a unstable situation happen, doubtful situation happen, where to go and take refuge, like a turtle dug into the limbs inside, then he or she cannot be blamed. That is, the teacher must be blamed. That is why in the interviews, try as much as possible, please complain if you have something. We will get together and discuss and dialogue where to come back and find oasis, find refuge, find a neutral place, find the middle path. Find the middle path, and we are just newly born babies. No one can be blamed. Something related, but sometimes I feel like contrary to that, Buddha says, when someone becomes an arahant, he knows verily, under such circumstances, if I have not trained my mind, I would have taken a wrong decision. But now I am very patient. I am not rushing into that. So easily I can take the decision conducive for middle path. Not to go into the extreme. So therefore I am more and more to the comfort zone. I am in the least frictional path. If you decided to extremes, definitely you are frictional. So therefore the Buddha says such a person worth calling Arahant or Brahmana. Because he is not rushing to this thing, he make use of all the qualities and see the decision. It's very slow and very alert. And the newly born baby also exactly the same, Buddha says. They are not judgmental. Their mind also very pure. But they won't get results. Because the baby do not know I am non-judgmental. Baby do not know I am choiceless. I am unassuming. So we have done enough mistakes. We have our past memories. And when and where you develop mindfulness as a clear comprehension, day by day, if you feel your path become a least frictional path, day by day you feel you know how to come back to your comfort zone. This your own experience, your own past memory. So therefore you are the person going to get immediate results, because you know without that kind of mindfulness, without that kind of a clear comprehension, without that kind of a moral restraint and moral fear, without that kind of a restraint of faculties, you cannot make such contentment. You cannot be contented like that. So whenever you go there, you go stepwise. That contentment, if you are going to have maybe 1%, 2%, 3%, that indicates your concentration. That indicates how much you are one-pointed, how much you are composed, concentrated. So therefore, understanding and, facilitating your restraint of faculties is a evolutionary thing, and you become someone else. Your personality traits, your liking and disliking, your way of assuming, everything reshuffled. So therefore it is like when a butterfly start with an egg, and then a tiny little worm, and then become a caterpillar and eating, day and night, in and out, and after that go into a cocoon. When inside the cocoon, no action. Completely covered. And going in, we call pupa, and they cut off the cocoon and come out like a butterfly. Complete metamorphosis. So, Indriya Sangvara, or restraint of faculties, is the way you reshuffle yourself. And happy thing is, you have all the good qualities and the virtues inside. They are conflicting each other. They are not complementary each other. In meditation, all the conflicting things get the arrangement, and then everything becomes complementary. Imagine a piece of iron, a strip of iron. And if it is touched with the magnet, in a systematic way, all the iron become magnetized, more and more associated with, in a systematic way, with a magnet. What happens is, all the ions, the iron I am using two terms, ions is tiny particles, get aligned. When they get aligned, they are sensitive to the north. If it is not aligned, it's just a piece of iron. So this is how you have to apply again and again. And that is the point where the bhavana is repetitive application. So if someone is going to say how many times I have to apply, how many minutes I have to do each day, and how many hours, then that means these people are in a rush. They can't understand because it has been conditioned for aeons of time. Deconditioning in 1 hour or 2 hours time is impossible. So the Harvard University people, they asked this question put this question to His Holiness Dalai Lama, which is so simple. Meditate more than 10,000 hours. Then they are astonished to see the Americans, such a busy people, meditating more than 10,000 hours. Then the Dalai Lama smiled and said, if you take whole Tibet, more than 1% of the population already now more than 10,000. They are always meditating. Many people are lamas. They are not chasing behind the supermarkets and behind the tablets and the phone and chopping always and looking at everything. Possible. If we can destroy our life with so much of non-restraining of our faculties, and if you have self-love, if you have well-being, idea of well-being, you have to apply, you have to see, restrain the faculties. And during the time of the Buddha, there was one person called Uttara, came and sit in a dialogue or discussion, and then he paid kind of a respect to the Buddha, and Buddha accepted him as a visitor. Then told, he's a mendicant, asked, did your teacher also teach you self-restraint or restraint of faculties? He was very happy that Buddha is asking such a familiar question. Yes. He says, whenever you see visual objects, it's a door opening for defilements. Whenever you are listening, any sound, it's a door opening for unreasoned defilements to arise. It is whenever you smell, taste, touch, think, therefore don't look at things, don't hear things, don't smell things. That is the way he did. Then the Venerable Buddha told Venerable Ananda, and if someone is born blind, must be Arahant then. They are not looking at anything. If you are born deaf, then they must be Arahant. The other person accepted, not merely by not looking at visual things, visual objects and sounds. That is not the noble way of restraint of faculties. And then Buddha made a general statement, Ananda, when people are talking this kind of nonsense, once in a way, an omniscient one arises, and he too teach restraint of faculties. Taking the opportunity, Venerable Ananda went forward and prostrate and respected Bhante, please, out of compassion, please teach us. What is the noble way of restraining faculties? That is how the sutta is going. That is the last sutta you find in the Majjhima Nikaya. Then the Buddha says, whenever you see any object, you look at it because it is giving a kind of a liking. It is kind of a desirability or undesirability. Otherwise, you are not keep on observing something. Whenever you see, you fail to understand, you are looking at it, you are gazing at it because of the desirability and undesirability. So if you do not know, that desirability and undesirability are going to create a tension, frustration. That is the point where you start to develop defilements, not by mere looking at. So what is the instruction? Or what is the advice? Whenever you see, don't just think it is seeing, but understand what is happening, what is the coloration in your mind. Are you with the desirability or undesirability or liking or disliking? And then Buddha give a little clue. Ananda, whenever you are looking at, whenever you are avenued with one desirable object, seeing object with your eye, the already arisen desirability or undesirability is very gross. Anyone can pick it out. Anyone can make it out. Whenever you see, you look at it, you gaze at it because of the desire or undesire, or in between, it is very gross. Only the mindful people, only the people with clear comprehension can understand, I am leaving aside all the sounds, all the smell, all the taste and all the other faculties. You are attracted to the desirable visual object because of it is either desirable or undesirable. If you manage, if you are sharp enough to understand not only the visual object, your coloration in your mind. And if you can understand, I am looking at it, I am complaining about that, I am wish to see again and again because of my liking and disliking. And still further it says, it's very, very subtle, that liking and disliking, you are the one imposing upon that object. Object itself is not liking, not disliking. So quantum physics, they are about to understand, you are the one attribute qualities to the object, not the qualities giving attribution to your mind. Your consciousness is the one because of your upbringing. Whenever you see an animal to a hunter, it is something, a prey. But if you are an animal lover, if you are to see a wild animal, you will be very happy to see the animal in the forest in natural way. But if you are a hunter, it's a completely different picture. Animal is animal. The way your upbringing indicates what is your behavior is. So therefore, when and where you see something, if you manage to split it, seeing and liking and disliking, desirability and undesirability, then you are through. Otherwise, that automatically arising, effortlessly arising liking and disliking will take you for a ride, and you start storytelling, fabrication, and you are blind, you are completely not vigilant to the sounds at that time, not vigilant to smells at that time. You are not vigilant to the tastes, touch or thinking, because you are being attracted to the seeing. Whenever you are seeing, whenever Jnanaponika says selecting and desiring and attentive to the seeing, that means you are purposefully blocking 5 things. You are blocking sounds, you are blocking smells, you are blocking taste, you are blocking touch, you are blocking thinking. Because of that visual thing is so attractive, you become dumb-bound, all the other faculties become null and void. The eye becomes the dominant factor. And it is domineering, all the other faculties are not in action, and you think you are a balanced person. No, this snake is working at that time, all the other wild animals to take along the snake. Instead, if you are listening to Michael Jackson and other music and dancing and happily, the crocodile is going to take, and all the other faculties are closed, you don't know. And if you are with the smell, the dog. If you are with the taste, the jackal. If you are with the bodily tactile, Buddha says the powerful bird. And if you are with thinking, the monkey mind. Whenever such a one thing happens, they destroy all the other sense organs as well as the outside stimuli. So the day you try to understand it, each and every time you see without mindfulness, what we see and what we express, what we feel, what we judge, is what a partial thing. You never understand how much inputs you are strained and you are filtered and cut off. And to put into the formula, avijja pacca sankara, sankara pacca vijñāna. Whatever the consciousness arises because of your sankara, your wish, your will, your volition. So volition decide what to see. If you are seeing, hearing another thing is, it become null and void. If the volition decides to hear, all the other five gone. And the volition immediately run by avijja, the ignorance, the idiotness, the foolishness, the darkness. So darkness condition your volition, and volition condition the vijnana, the consciousness, and consciousness says, I am very innocent, this is what happened, I decide upon what is the available witnesses, but that is decided by your volition. So, to open, to aware, at least theoretically, and see when we have seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking, all the objects, which one, what is the one we are going to select? No one is with an agenda. Everyone with that five brutal, not the brutal, beastly or reptilian way. They decide. And Buddha says, whenever you go here visual thing, it is run and it is been governed by desire and undesirability. It is gross. You can understand, not only you see, but you are desirable. You are happy with that or unhappy with that. And it says, immediately there, electrically decides one thought moment before you can't predict. That is called Sankata. And Paticcasamuppanna, darling, it is predestined. No way out. Whenever you give that array, what you select is already predestined. So, when we go to a buffet diet and let everyone to select his or her plate, two plates are not equal. You select what you like. And later you give an opinion about the whole table according to what the portion you selected and tasted. And you think, I consumed, I am not just thinking, I have my practical experience, this is what the buffet diet is. Of course, if it is possible to eat the whole table, it is good. But impossible. Likewise, our consciousness cannot take everything, it takes only the volitional selected plate. So we are already slaves. We are already servants, slaves of our desire, of our volitional activity, willful activity. So therefore, Schopenhauer, Arthur Schopenhauer used to say, each and every will is evil. Whatever you select, each and every will is evil. So ultimately it became a landmine in the Western philosophy. But the Buddha, he says, Sabbe Sankara Dukkha. That we recite daily, we recite each day, Sabbe Sankara Dukkha, whatever you select according to your liking and disliking, it is never for your well-being, never for your compassion. You are the one selecting, but you are selecting with sick mind. You are not selecting with mindfulness and the clear comprehension. You are not selecting with the background of ethical and moral shame and the moral fear. You are not selecting with the restraint of faculties. And ultimately you can't talk about virtues. Even if you say, I am 8 precept holder, 10 precept holder, or Samanera, Samaneri, Sikhamana, whatever may be, definitely you may be honest. No one can guarantee. Unless otherwise you have mindfulness. Unless otherwise you have clear comprehension, and this, that is called series of the Dhamma. And when it is happening, imagine one day you can understand while you are walking, you see a beautiful thing. And while you are observing the beautiful thing, another section of mind come to say, hey darling, you are not mindful, you are not came here for looking at something, you must be back in your foot, left leg, right leg, but instead you are now seeing. And then now you have an option. This is a desired, neutral, appointed object. And instead your senses pull you out of that and say, the visual object is very beautiful. In Perth, there are a lot of specific birds. So when a bird come and dance, why not you look at the bird and see how nice to see the bird, and when then storytelling going. And under such circumstances, more and more you go with the birds. That is what your faculties are suggesting. More and more you become unmindful. More and more you with the likings and disliking. And you take long time to come back to your assembly ground. Long time to come back to your appointed place, pivotal point. The Buddha says, the pivotal point is etan santang, etam panitang yadidang upekha. This is very calm. It's very peaceful. This is more towards the equilibrium. But whenever it is going to the visual world things, your mind is agitated. The difficulty is, your primary object is boring. Very, very monotonous. Very, very uncertain. Very, very you feel cornered. But the desirable thing happen, very dramatic. Very colorful. Who the hell can think about your well-being and your virtues and your moral shame and the moral fear and the mindfulness and the clear comprehension and come back to your primary object? Buddha says it is possible because going out and arising desire is very gross. It is electric. On the spot it happens. And it happens, it is predestined. You are such a person. So whenever one of these three can trigger you telling something wrong somewhere, under such circumstances, how quickly you can come back to the primary object is called resilience. That is the measurement for your maturity or seniority in your meditation. When you come back, main thing is not to worry. I have to understand, I would have gone according to that visual object long way, halfway, it happened to me, something wrong somewhere. And the way back home, there is no hindrance, there is no blockage other than your desire, other than your ignorance. These are the two things binding you to the samsara. If you can give up that desire, or if you can go prepared, and you understand this is because of my ignorance, your primary object is waiting. You can come back. And moment you come back, not just moment, but anyway, come back and verify that I am back at home, your whole possible defilements gone. You are again back at the zero level. Otherwise you would have developed so much of storytelling, fabrication according to the bird you have seen. So whole literature on the world is nothing but bullshit. Nothing. as far as you are in the mindfulness and in the center, there's no storytelling. There's no the fabrication. So we give the how do you call, gifts and the Nobel Prize and everything for literature and kind of thing. They have never practiced mindfulness. They have never understood what is the clear comprehension is. So whenever we are also going to read that kind of thing, you have to understand how much these books are carrying you away or taken for your right. But still, if you know it's a fabrication, if you know it's a novel, you are safe. That is possible. That is the clue the Buddha gives. Your mind will run away. Next time also will run away. Again will run away. But be careful to see desire and undesire. That's an indication for you too, because it's very gross. And the other thing is unpredictable. It's very electric. This time the sound, next time the smell, first time it was with visual objects. So whenever you know, each and every thought moment is very critical. Not only in city meditation, not only in walking meditation, a whole day. So then you can understand if you are not mindful, if you have ever never heard about that, before we become mindful, what the kind of a stream of consciousness we entertain. What a kind of history we have. So now only you become civilized person, and that is why it's called sila, virtuous behavior, and still you feel disheartened. You feel never you can come up to the virtuous situation because faculties are pulling this way and that way, just like the 6 animals. So the Buddha give a clue. Instead of tying them together mutually each other, tie them everything and put into a peg and tie everything, everyone. Then they can run, but up to the mark of the string. And that is what you call Kayanupassana. All the senses must be, the center, the pivotal point, or the benchmark must be your body. Whenever mind is going outside for visual objects and sounds and kind of, never mind, bring it back to the body, but you can't bring it to the body because you hate your body. This throughout the humanity, you hate your body. You are always happy to be bigger, much whiter, beautiful. That is why the pharmaceutical industry. You don't like as it is. So always you are washing and cleaning and everything. I am not against washing, otherwise it will be smelly. You please wash, no problem. But you cannot improve. It's the way it is. And the very irony is, look at the Buddha. It has special 32 features, and 80 odd number of features is called the superhuman. Not with pharmaceutical, not with makeup. And the build is so powerful because of its virtues. So unless otherwise you don't have this kind of virtues, you happy if you can build my body, bodybuilding, or if you can pharmaceuticals and facelifting, cosmetics. Though for Sunday, the world is completely run by pharmaceutical industries. Governments are changed. But everyone happy to be beautiful. Otherwise you will not be called for TV interview. Before go to the TV interview, even monks go to the studios. Some monks, they have studio in their monastery. And they are very careful before go to the interviews, they do. There's one clip. George Bush II, just before call the nation, giving the statement, he is working with the announcer and winking the eye and adjusting and kind of thing. And then she give a signal, now you appear perfect, and he's going to talk. And someone pick the early part of the clip and show what the kind of shape shifting. what a kind of a shape-shifting, and what a kind of facelifting, and that's the way it is happening. Because we don't like our present state of our body. That's why we are always moving our posture. That's why we are adjusting all the kinds. We are happy with luxuries, we are happy with this and that, because we are not happy with that. So it's a fact. It is not your individual mistake, it's a human being. The day you understand your restraint faculties, first and foremost, you love your body. You know how to sit comfortably. You know how to walk symmetrically. You know how to sleep in a comfortable posture. And we are standing, you will stand in a balanced way. Otherwise, all the time, we are imbalanced. All the occupations on the earth, creating occupational diseases, occupational distraction to your skeleton. So therefore, when and where you become virtuous, about to make the conducive conditions for the virtues, there's a lot of alignments in your psychiatric and psychology and the mind and the body. That is, you are the first person to understand it. Don't ask teacher. Don't ask the neighbor. You feel, whenever you see, you know our faculties are pulling into seeing, or whenever you are hearing, whenever you are smelling, tasting, touching, each and everyone is door opening for a new series of defilements. But if you know it, you can understand what the security, what the kind of bookkeeping I have, because thanks to mindfulness I know. And many psychiatrically imbalanced people, they are not happy with that. They just go panic. But even psychiatrists, they know, whenever your psychological wounds come up, know that I am a desire for this yellow color, black color, this shape, that shape. It's your personality trait. You can understand only through mistakes. Never with your good qualities. So therefore mindfulness is putting the torch into the darker part of your life, and that's an endowment. You must have balanced psychology to facilitate it, cater, and to understand, and lucky enough, we have a very rich theory. The Tipitaka is full of every tiny detail explained. So when you keep on practicing, you feel, you understand what the Buddha is telling. So therefore, from restrainment of the sense faculties to the virtues is the culture. Then only your spiritual journey starts. And there you are bound to see, you are about to see the transgressional kind of defilements. That means you are not transgressing social norms. Whenever you are transgressing, you understand you are to be punished. So therefore, that is called the ruling law of the world. You are not restrained due to the punishment or the police or kind of thing. Your inner heart, inner sense says, darling, it is not done. This is the regulation, this is the social norms. If you are going to break it, you have to suffer. So whenever you are breaking and not expressing your internal tension and frustration, burning you. In a Buddhist way, you will go to the hell and burn. No, you are on the earth. Here and now you start burning. You can't hide it. Whenever you break it, you start. And whatever the psychedelic medicine, whatever may be, relapse happen because you are bound to break virtues and again it will happen. So now psychology, mindful research these days, whenever you learn it and understand it, you may get kind of a release from your psychiatric situation, but it is not relapsing. It is never come back because you know medicine, mindfulness, doctor, yourself, patient, yourself, it is in the inner circle going to happen. So when that is going to work further, after a while, my teacher used to say, after a while, that your virtues become contagious. The people surrounded by you also going to get benefited because you know how to find the good vibes and work with, be with virtuous people, and then you see how much, why they are happy. Because they are not breaking rules. So there is no self-accusation. And second thing is, all the other people close by, they know earlier this guy was such a culprit, such a person. Now kind of a restraint happened. So if you are in the corrective path, if you are in the recovery path, anyone can give excuse. Anyone excuse you. And the self-accusation and finding for the accusation from the outside people and from the society at large. If you are not a virtuous person, you are always hiding yourself. You can't go forward because you are with inferiority kind of thing. So whenever the virtues come into being, Attanuvada bhaya, Paranavada bhaya, Danda bhaya, Dukkati bhaya. So if you love your children, this is the best gift. This is what we call personality, not the PhD. Not that in this and that technology. Because they are completely decided not to be moral virtues and moral fear. Technology, definitely without moral shame and moral fear. So you can't expect. So that is why the technology now going to the mindfulness and ask how mindfulness can do away with tension, stress reduction. Of course, they are going with the therapeutic way, but you can use it as a preventative way also. So, but first and foremost, you have to practice yourself. We are on the way. We are on the way. The blockages, the bottlenecks are to understand virtues is not accepting the precepts and wearing white clothes and the shoulder cloth. It is something much inner. And when it is happening, better to have other people also following the same kind of thing. So you find easier. So you must go to such a conducive places at the beginning. So then you can find other people also doing. And when and where you are breaking, the virtuous people will not punish you, but they will come to you and tell, hey darling, if you are going to be with us, please maintain this and that regulations. So therefore you have to understand that situation, and when and where you see your mistakes, if you are not mindful, you hate yourself. When and where you become mindful, you understand without the hate. That is what you call the knowledge. You understand your mistakes, but no hate. Because you know, earlier I did with hate, it is not working, it is relapsing. Now slowly you understand the removal of this hate to your own mistake make you a saint, make you a virtuous person, and without any hesitation you can tell others, earlier I used to do it, but due to thanks to the mindfulness of the clear comprehension, now I know the number of mistakes I am doing, the heaviness of the mistakes I am doing, still I am doing. But I can confess. Please allow that confession. It is not cheating. And when it's happening, you develop kind of a self-love, and you feel being a human is what a blessing. If you are not a human, you can't do it. And even if you are a human, you must have this series of Dhamma, then only your humanness will be uplifted to the higher levels. It is not merely by meeting the next Buddha to arise, Metteya Buddha. Many people are waiting because he will give a lift for the virtues and concentration, and so they are doing so much of merits because they can get the lift from the Buddha. But if you know how much pain the Buddha to be is taking, He is telling, darling, I can't lift you, but I will let you know the method. And Gautama the Buddha already did it. Don't postpone it. And when you are doing, you feel. Because we see a lot of other people doing the same. We are not solitude, we are not isolated, we are not lonely. Other people also do, but everyone is doing with so much of difficulty. But anyway, it is understanding that is creating our group coherent. Because we are doing a very difficult task, but we are not shouting others, we are not finding fault with others. When we are doing that, the secret is the sustainability. I have to do it in a regular way. 1,001 reasons are there just to give up your practice. So therefore I simply say, don't meditate. You don't have time for meditation, but try to be mindful. Whatever you do, you can be mindful. Then you are on the way. You are progressing. And if few people not taking this path, or path of mindfulness, who the hell can do it? Other people, they don't believe Buddha. They don't listen to Dhamma. They don't respect the Sangha. They don't value virtues. So therefore, we have to understand, for the sake of the whole world, for the peace of the whole world, we have to increase our number of thought moments of mindfulness per day, or number of thought moments mindfulness in one sitting, one walking. If it is increasing, we have done the job. But don't try to be smart to accelerate it, but let it grow in a not the sustainable way. So that is the last remark I would like to give, and thank you very much for listening.